Late last year, I remember reading about Carlo Acutis, a teenage computer programmer who was beatified by the Pope in 2020. Outlets like the BBC and the New York Times wrote that this 15-year-old Carlo, who was a computer whiz, he was one step away from being the first millennial saint. A saint. Reflecting on his sweet life story and legacy made me start to think about my writing. And maybe you've been here or you're still here, but I used to think, when they read my work, especially when I'm gone, I want them to sing my praises, to glorify my texts, to quote me, to worship my work ethic and how great I was as a writer. Even saying that makes me feel so weird. How great I was, how great I am, how great you are. Look, okay, to be fair, I used to think this quietly and not necessarily vocalize it. But somehow it would become a louder internal voice whenever a significant writer died, like Maya Angelou.
Hawthorne says easy reading is damned hard writing. So I go to work. I realize it is work that I'm going to. This is not, I'm waiting for the light bulb to go off over my head, so dig like I can feel where I'm coming. I don't do that. I go to work.
People knew her work, loved her, and she became a figure greater than her writing. That's what I wanted for myself, and the more I looked at the writers around me, just like me, Black, African, emerging in Australia, I felt threatened that they would chip away at my saintly legacy. I wanted to publish my books first, bigger, better, louder, and morer, whatever that even means. I didn't want to share the light with anyone else, but that affected how I wrote. I was competitive. I was small-minded and broad in my stories, trying to appeal to as many people as they had. But like Maya said, I just needed to do the work. Welcome to Two Words with Taku, a show for writers who haven't been knighted and probably won't be knighted anytime soon. This is the place we meditate together as we discern where our stories will lead us and then what work we actually need to get there. Today's two words are Canon Eyes, and in this episode, I ponder, where do we want our stories to sit amongst others like them? I got weak in the knees, I could hardly speak, I lost all control and something took over me. Yep, it was amazing. And it definitely stayed with me. What on earth am I singing about? In fact, I really should not be singing on a podcast, should I? A few months ago, I came across an Instagram video of Issa Rae, Michaela Cole, and Cynthia Erivo, and they were singing Weak by SWV in a car. They were having the best time and I experienced every emotion possible watching them. Definitely felt FOMO. I wanted to be there too. I wanted them to be my friends, sorry. I definitely felt fangirl fear. So, oh my gosh, they're all so amazing. I wouldn't have known what to say if they'd driven up to me, at the lights or something. And then I was just in sheer awe and wonder, kind of thinking, wait a minute, these are all incredible women and creators in their own way, but they can totally hang out without any weird vibes. And that to me is squad goals. So during the 2020 lockdown, I worked through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And if you've been listening to me or watching my videos, you have probably heard me talk about this book until you're tired. But that book definitely changed so much. And it's essentially a book about nurturing and rediscovering your creative self. But in this book, there's a chapter where she talks about jealousy. And oh man, that really challenged me to rethink what generosity and abundance and kindness look like in my writing practice. I now believe, and I think I always did, but just didn't quite know how to live it. But yeah, I now believe there is more than enough for everyone. So enough grants, enough publishing deals, enough attention, enough whatever it is everybody's clamoring for. There's enough. And I don't need to fear scarcity anymore. And so I don't need to hoard. I can share the limelight. I can help a fellow emerging creative. I can shift my focus to supporting my community because we're actually coming up together. And the best thing is that I can focus on my work knowing it's adding to the fabric of Australian storytelling overall. So it actually doesn't matter if I'm not the first, the best, the boldest, the loudest, or the morest, or, whatever. It's actually such a relief that I don't want to be that at all anymore. I used to, but now I'm just happy. Like, there's no competition in the canon. I can write the stories that fill my heart with joy, and I can also just sit and do the work that I need to do, and it doesn't matter about how it's received afterwards. Obviously, it'd be nice that people like what I'm sharing, but that shouldn't be my motivation, and it used to be. So that's pretty much what I am planting out there to you listening, is what does that look like? What is competition for you? Who's in your canon? Or what's, I just have all these questions, like what if you were homies with the people who are doing exactly what you want to do? Could you hang out with them in a car for a fun road trip? What crazy foolishness would you come up with? And would you freely let your guard down? Because I know this has happened to me so many times. I try and approach people who I admire and want to work with, or just want to ask for help, and man, the walls are up. Yeah. And to be fair, that did used to be me, but that's not me anymore. But yeah, anyway, so I'm asking you, would you freely let your guard down? Would you throw ideas to help them out without expectation that they do the same? And I don't know. I don't think there's really a right answer, because it depends on your personality, your situation, all sorts of things. But I really feel like it's something to think about as we start putting our work out there, and also as we start getting more opportunities to interact with the very people we admire who are doing the work that we want to do, and also our peers as we come up. There's no competition in the canon. Do you think that's true? Do you think I'm right? If you do, leave a comment, or you can also get in touch at taku.com.au. Otherwise, keep writing, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.